Hello, I'm speaking to you in British English. Jetzt spreche ich auf Deutsch. Adesso parlo in italiano. Estoy hablando en español. Maintenant je parle en français. But what if the person I was speaking to couldn't hear me? Well, that's simple, isn't it? I could use sign language. But could I? And what kind of sign language? There are an estimated 300 different kinds of sign language all over the world, each with their own syntax and grammar structure, not to mention different signs. When we as hearing individuals think of language, we tend to imagine the sound of a language being spoken to us. If the language uses a different alphabet to ours, we might even imagine what the language looks like written down. If the language uses the same alphabet as ours, we might be able to get a sense of how the language is spoken without ever having to hear it. Everyone say thank you to the Phoenicians. But these 300 forms of sign language, by their very nature, feature no sound at all, and likely feature visuals we will not be familiar with. In the UK, the BSL Act of 2022 officially recognised British Sign Language as a language of Great Britain by law. This shows that these languages do not act as variations or extensions of pre-existing spoken languages, but as separate languages in their own right. Note their names. There's British Sign Language, which doesn't mention the English spoken language at all. Neither does American Sign Language or any of the other signed languages in English-speaking countries. There's also Brazilian Sign Language, which doesn't mention the Portuguese spoken language, and Chinese Sign Language, which doesn't mention Mandarin or Cantonese, or any of the languages spoken in China, and so on. These names point to the country in which the language originated, and not to the spoken language they derived from, because they didn't. British Sign Language and American Sign Language, despite originating in countries whose spoken languages are, for the most part, identical, are completely different. Indeed, there are lots of words and terms in the English language that don't have BSL equivalents. And, conversely, lots of BSL signs that don't have direct English translations. This is a crucial point to consider, the way that these languages work. Where in spoken languages, we might make use of tone, volume, pitch, and the occasional hand gesture, BSL and other sign languages have an entirely different set of tools to work with because they operate within a different medium of communication. They might use hand placement and gestures. There's also aspect modulation, where changing the direction or repetition or frequency of a sign might change its meaning. For example, the sign for help can be registered as I help you or you help me, depending on the direction the sign is being done. There's also facial expression, body language, and even lip movements, which don't correspond to a sound being made, but are rather part of the motion of the sign itself. The reason for these misconceptions lie in BSL and other sign languages being largely underrepresented in education. In the UK, there are between 40 and 70,000 BSL users, 22,000 of those being daily users. This contrasts to countries like China, where an estimated 20 million people use CSL. Though spoken languages like French and Spanish are introduced to children at a very early age, especially in primary school, BSL is not. BSL courses are offered at undergraduate level at several UK universities, but their comparative lack of popularity can be attributed to the fact they are not introduced to people at an early enough age to inspire study at further levels. There are a number of challenges that play into this. First and foremost, it is essential to teaching BSL to also teach the culture and history of the deaf community, at least in the UK, but also worldwide. This naturally is a topic that young children might have difficulty grasping. There is also a general scarcity of deaf teachers who are required to teach BSL, as you can't have a hearing person teaching the culture of a deaf individual. This lack of demand later in life then leads to a further disconnect between the deaf and hearing societies. This then leads to fewer deaf people wanting to teach hearing people about deaf culture, and so the cycle continues. This is, however, beginning to change slightly. Organisations like Deaf Action Scotland offer free BSL courses to friends or family members of people who are deaf. But these people aren't the only ones who might want to learn sign language. It is clear from the existence of individuals learning BSL on their own terms, who don't have a connection to deaf people, that there does exist a demand for such education. A BSL GCSE is also in development, and has been in the works since 2019, planning to be implemented in the next few years, though this has been met with some delays. Many UK universities are also offering BSL at undergraduate and postgraduate level, with interpreter training available as well. However, for the most significant impact, what is really needed is greater representation at the primary sector. Nevertheless, it does seem that the world of education is beginning to embrace signed languages for what they are, languages in their own right. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to learn more about BSL and its role within education, you can visit the following sites, which are linked in the description below. They offer instructional videos and in general have more information about the world of signed languages and deaf culture. Thank you very much.